Hey Clashers, we just had the biggest tournament with $20,000 prize pool on the line since the second Town of 15 update came out. And well, this is how the bracket overall looked like. In the Champions War League, those top teams went head to head, bringing the best strategies, the best attacks overall to give us a nice entertainment, but as well for fighting for the huge prize pool. What can we learn from this? Well, overall, we can take a look at the numbers because we can now then learn what should be the strategies after the update we should play. And at this point, I want to give a huge shout out to Chase the Ace for always bringing those incredible stats. By the way, if you want to compare those stats to like for old tournaments, like which happened before the update, or as well, for example, the Chinese tournament, the Chinese Golden Ticket tournament, well, you can just check out his Twitter. He always has the up-to-date dates right there, like stats and everything. So you should be able to compare quite a bit. But for us right now, this is the important thing we want to take a look at. The overall hit rate went from around about 38% to 48%. So around about a 10% increase on the highest level for Clash of Clans in those big tournaments, which I think is great. Like having around about 50% hit rate is incredible for the pro player, I think, and especially for the viewers as well, because they can finally see their favorite teams 3-starring again. But now the question is, well, from all of those numbers, which you can see right on your screen, what are the important ones? And especially, what are the strategies I recommend to you? Because remember, this is tournament play, right? And tournament is not always equal to what you guys facing in like Legend League or your regular Clan War League, whatsoever. So the first thing I think we have to take a look at is what is the most used strategy now? And actually, it is Hard Riders. You have to remember though, all of those different Hard Rider strategies are not combined with the one big thing with like Queen Charge Hawks. So for example, Queen Charge Twin Hawks, Queen Charge Super Hawks, all of them are within this one category. Remember that, okay? So there were a lot of different Hard Rider strategies with like different combinations of Super Hawks, no Super Hawks, only Super Hawks. So that was all about those Hard Riders, and it was actually the most used if you combine all of them into one big pot. Another important thing maybe to notice is that Lalo went down quite a bit. Before the update, we had overall a 50% Lalo use rate in those top matches, which is crazy. I mean, 50%, that's insane. This is now all the way down to only a little above 30%, which I think is way more enjoyable for a viewer. Let me know if you think the same. I mean, having around a 30% Lalo attack is still a lot, but it's not 50%. That's quite nice. But now the question is, what are the strategies you should look into? Because I definitely do not recommend using Lalo strategies for you as a regular clasher, because even within the competitive scene, only the top teams can consistently use Lalo, and this already speaks a lot about how difficult this strategy is. It's still probably the best, but well, it's not really easy. So I feel I should recommend 1 or 2 air and 1 or 2 ground strategies. Let's start things off with ground. I mean, Queen Charge Hawks is obviously really strong, but for that you need to be able to do a Queen Charge, which is already a really difficult thing to do at Town of 15. So if you can do it, I definitely recommend Queen Charge Hawks for you, because I think it's really fun. I mean, Queen Charge is overall fun. But if you're saying, well, that's too hard, or you don't like Queen Charges, the other 2 really solid options are either Super Bonus Smash or Zap Titans. I think Super Bonus Smash are overall a little bit easier, because for Zap Titans, you need a lot of game knowledge, okay? You need a lot of game knowledge because, well, you need to know where to zap, how to use those spells and everything. With Bonus Smash, it's more about the pathing, which is most of the time more, I think it's easier to spot, okay? So, by the way, I have done videos for both of those strategies, and just yesterday, or like a few days ago, I actually uploaded a video about Zap Titans from the rank 2 player, because in the top 10, everyone is using Zap Titans. It's still one of the most dominant strategies out there if you actually have the game knowledge to know where to use the lightnings when and everything, and can figure out what the approach is looking like. Then the strategy is incredibly strong, so you can definitely check out the guides from me over there. But now, with having talked about ground, and as I said, that will be kind of the 3 strategies I recommend, like Queen Charge Hawks if you're into Queen Charges, otherwise Super Bonus Smash or Zap Titans. But now with air, it's a bit different. Air is a bit different because it's really dominated in the pro scene by Lalo. But now, what about like regular clashers? Well, I think E-Dragons is a really good fit. Now, hear me out. I think a lot of people are kind of like saying E-Dragons is like the spam prey strategy for 2 stars and stuff, but that is completely wrong. It might be the case for maybe some really hardcore casual players who are like opening the game once or twice a week, but if you're actually putting time into it, we have seen over the weekend some players putting up incredible hit rates with Electro Dragons in the tournament. Because Electro Dragons have a lot of power, which can be used really efficiently if you know when to use like which siege machine. The next thing as well, which you have to figure out is sometimes you can like just surgical Electro Dragons. So there's a lot of depth to this troop, which you might not have figured out yet. So that's definitely like the number 1 recommendation when it comes down to air. Another thing which I think I want to highlight is the Inferno Dragon spam. I mean, it is always called air spam, but still, you have to figure things out with like the spell timing and placement. But Inferno Dragons, Mass Inferno Dragons was incredible with the hit rate. I think Mass Inferno Dragons overall having a, just double checking quickly, but overall having a hit rate of 100%. It was only used 4 times, but if the base is fitting, it's definitely a really strong strategy. So you can try it out in Legends, and that will be kind of my number 2 recommendations, I think, for you guys based on air. Because Inferno Dragons are really, really strong, and if you can really figure things out, I think they're really good to use strategy. In Legends, they might be really inconsistent because overall those pros always use those strategies as like a base-dependent counter. So that's something which in Legend, obviously you don't have the option to change your army, so that's something you have to keep in mind of. Otherwise, this is pretty much what I would recommend for air. And as I said, that's kind of the top 2, but then again I want to have 1 bonus strategy in there, which is like a combination between air and ground, I guess, which is Super Barbarians with the Super Archer Blimp. Super Archer Blimp, a lot of people think that above a certain trophy line you can't really play it anymore, and that is completely wrong. In the top 200 you see quite a few players playing Super Archer Blimps, and the combination with the Super Barbarians is the most common one. I have done plenty of videos over the last couple of weeks figuring out or like playing this strategy and sharing some tips and tricks with that, because I think overall it's a really good strategy. I can only recommend it to you guys because overall it's really simple. It's relying on the blimp, yes, but overall otherwise not that hard to execute, and we have even seen quite a few Super Archer Blimp attacks over the tournament. Not as many, but still quite a few. I think especially for Legend, it's always a solid strategy to like fall back into. So those would be kind of the strategies I would recommend, and based on those stats, I think those pros would recommend them as well. Otherwise, well, let me know how you feel right now about like the balance within the game with 2 approaches. First off, obviously overall the game, and then like how the hit rates maybe feel like, especially if you have followed the Champions War League, maybe on the channel, maybe on some other channel, maybe some streams. Let me know how you feel about that, because I think right now it's pretty nice. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hopefully see you guys back tomorrow. Until then, see ya, and bye bye.